I always suspected that you know, my mum, for example, would have known, and you know, but I don't think they would have known out and out. So it was.
So you get home from South Africa. Who collects you from the airport?
Yeah, my dad collected me. You know,
how was that journey home?
I suppose that journey home, we talked about everything and anything except what was being said, which is probably typical of you know, an Irish father-son relationship. And you know, it was as if nothing was happening. And we would have went home, as usual. My mum would have had my dinner ready, and you know, I just said, this is something I have to do. And I asked him to come down to the sitting room, and so we needed to talk.
Who was there?
Who was there on the day was my dad, my mum, my brother Conor, who was in the audience, and my sister Tressa.
And what did you say?
I told him as it was. You know, I told him that I wasn't into labels or anything like that, but this is the way I'd been living my life, and you know, that was it. You know, I was upfront as I could be, and you know, I said that, look, eventually, or obviously this conversation would have happened at a certain stage, but all along I just didn't think it was an issue, or I didn't think there was a need to have this conversation. And you know, obviously it was a bit of a shock to everyone in the room, and you know, it was a shock to my dad also, and it's well articulated in the book, the conversation that took place.
Well, tell us about it. Tell us what your dad said.
As I said, it's well articulated, I suppose, you know, which was, my dad obviously was in shock, and the first thing he said was that we need to get you fixed, and you know,
But did he mean that?
I think it was a natural reaction, you know, and it's something that when we look back, I know, you know, he was going through a very natural process. Actually, during the week, one of his friends was, my dad is retired now, and they were out having a walk, and one of his friends, and they were talking about the situation and obviously what was going on, and it's hard to avoid it at the moment. And one of my friends came up with a bit of a classic to him, in that he said, look, geez, Dan, what were you thinking when you said that to him? Did you think you were going to send him for an NCT or what? You know, so.
What did your brother say to your old man when he was walking out of the room after that big conversation?
Yeah, obviously, brother was there, Conor, and he'd be very well able to handle situations like that. And he put his hand on my dad's shoulder and said, "That'll broaden your mind, know that." You know, so.
When did you accept to yourself in your own heart and head that you were a gay man?
Yeah, I suppose, you know.
How young were you?
I was 13 or 14, you know, when I realised it. But, you know, it's something that I always knew was maybe a bit different, but something that I think I came to terms with it very quickly once I worked it out. And, you know, as you alluded to in the start of the book, you know, I think that 2 chapters out of 15 is reflective as how important it is in my life.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know, when I decided to write the book, I wasn't going to hide from it, but I wasn't going to dramatise it either.
As a young fella then in Cork, and you know, going through your teens, I presume you dated women and girls and did all the things just to keep it hunky-dory. Is that what happened, or?
Yeah, I suppose I would have dated girls, mainly, you know, and it's no disrespect to anybody that I dated, but you know, there is a certain amount of debate going on in your head, and you need to find out for sure. And you know, after that period, I was fairly certain in my head. But obviously, you know, you're still a young guy, you know, and it's something that you have to deal with. And I suppose I'm lucky enough that I'm built that way that I was able to handle it.
Was it a lonely road though, like in your late teens or whatever? I mean, trying to forge an existence in a very male world, I suppose, or heterosexual world that you were moving in. Was it a lonely road to travel?
I don't think so, you know. It's I don't think I felt it was like that. Obviously, it was a bit different, and you know, you had to do different things, and you know, maybe years afterwards, lads at home would say to you, geez, you know, that we used to wonder where you were disappearing to, all right, and stuff like that, because one second we'd be looking as if we were settling down to the night for a few pints, and you'd be after disappearing, but we just thought it was part of your eccentricity, maybe. But
where did you go?
Sure, where you know, where guys would go to,
which is where I don't
gay
know.
Nightclubs in Cork, for example.
Yeah.
And, but again, it was no big deal to me. I didn't think, you know, it was just something that needed to be done.
That attention you've received from the international media as well as the national and local media has been on the fact that so few men particularly come out as gay in the sports world. I mean, when you think of the amount of men playing rugby and soccer and GAA of any sport, the chances are there's more than just you in there, you know, in fairness, Donald. I mean, that's the bizarre thing, but you're the first that we know of to come out and say it. Why are so few willing to do the same thing?
Yeah, well, I suppose chances are they are, but every man to his own. You know, I think there, you know, a lot of people mightn't feel comfortable with it. You know,
Yeah.
sports people are put into probably what is not a natural environment for a person to be in stadiums full of people, and at times those people can be very hostile.
You got some serious abuse. I mean, I remember you describing the guy with the megaphone shouting out those, you know, unrepeatable, nasty comments about you. But you're made of stern stuff, so do you hear it when you're on the pitch? Do you hear that abuse?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people would ask you that question, and of course you can develop techniques and mental techniques to try and concentrate on what you're doing, but, you know, it's like, for example, that day before any of that started, you know, one of my friends asked me after the game, did you hear the crowd booing at the shout your name? And I asked him, or I replied back to him, what do you think? I'm 20 yards away from 7,000 or 8,000 people. When my name was called out, they're all booing. Of course you're going to hear it. And, you know, of course, you know, that's part and parcel of playing sport.
Yeah, but does it upset you? Because it's very personalised and it's deeply unpleasant. Does it break through that veneer, if you want to call it that, that strength that you have?
I suppose being a sports person, you know, prepares you for that, if you like, because you have to put up with challenging mental situations. Yeah. Nobody likes it, you know. I suppose, you know, going back to the incident that happened last year in the championship, which would be no different to a lot of other situations that I faced. You know, probably the people I was thinking about were maybe the likes of my dad and people like that who were in the stadium, and you know, that went into your mind for a bit. But you know that they're tough and that they'll get on with it as well, and that, you know, you need to understand that, you know, these people that are shouting these type of things really don't matter.
Well, that's for sure. The book itself, do you think the book will achieve much? Did you want it to achieve anything, or is it just very much a personal project?
Yeah, well, I suppose for myself, I've been obviously involved in a number of different situations over the last number of years, be it strikes, be it my playing career or whatever. And I wanted to bring closure to a number of things. And, you know, I want to go back playing for Cork. I want to go back and try and win for Cork. And hopefully this book will bring closure to a certain amount of things. Definitely, when I sat down to look at the project, if you like, one of the things that would have been in my head was that, you know, I almost felt a duty because of my own personal situation, you know, that by me talking about it, if it could help maybe young boys or young girls that found themselves in the same situation, then that would be great. And that was definitely one of my goals. And as I said, I almost felt it a duty. I've gotten loads of correspondence this week and loads of emails, but there's one maybe that just sums it up. If you don't mind, I might read it out.
What is it? An email of some sort?
Just an email that came through to Penguin, and they asked would they forward it on to me. And as I said, when I talked to a couple of friends about this, and you know, it was definitely one of my motivations that, you know, if I could help a person deal with their own situation, even one small bit, then that would be a nice thing when I look back in my sporting career to say, well, look, yeah, we won a fair amount of medals, we had great days, but that was a positive thing I also did. And you know, I'll just read this if you don't mind.
Please.
It was with tears in my eyes that I read the article about Donald Cusick in the Endo this morning. Some of the quotes in the article struck a chord with me. I am generally not the type of person to send letters to newspapers or write to people I don't know about subjects in the media. But the article this morning moved me so much that I felt compelled to write this email. As someone who is not out to my family yet, I can attest to the mental anguish every time you have to lie to those closest to you, or change a pronoun, or every time a sibling introduces their girlfriend or boyfriend to the family. And you realise that you won't be able to do the same. I'm not Irish, and I have to admit I don't follow hurling that closely, but I would be very glad if you can let Donal Logue know that today he has one more fan, and he has given me a bit more courage on my journey to try and come out to my own dad. The unfortunate thing about that situation is, Ryan, and you know, we maybe joked a bit about it, but there are people that wake up every day, and their every thought and their every movement and all of their actions are influenced by, you know, if you like, the guilt that's associated with this. And it's, you know, in my head, it's never a thing that, you know, I felt that people should be guilty about. There are a lot more greater challenges in life, and it's just a shame that if young people, you know, are under so much pressure over the thing, and if this book and, you know, me not being the stereotypical gay person can help in any way, then it's worth it for me.
How's your dad this week?
My dad, I don't think he's jumping up and down, but he's tough, and he's tough, and he'll get on with things.
Can I show you a great picture? We have to finish, but there's a great picture of you with your dad here.
Right.
I just want to show everyone when you were a little fun-size hurling man. Yeah. Look at that. I mean, look at that. I'm sorry, I have to do that.
And to think I saved you at the start of the show from making a major...
See what I did at the end of that
Yeah,
there? Yeah, that was really
it.
mean. But thank you for saving me. That was very kind. You're a very chivalrous man, I have to say. Donald O'Cusack, I want to wish you happiness forever and ever, whatever you do. And thank you for coming along and sharing your story with us this evening. Donald
Thank you very much.